distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pleased to welcome you all today for a discussion on challenges in port operations and the future outlook for capacity expansion in Pakistan. We are honored to have with us senior leadership and expert voices from across the government and port management, whose insights are crucial for our shared understanding of Pakistan's maritime sector. Before we begin the discussion, I would like to offer a short background on Pakistan's ports and their significance in the broader economic context. Pakistan is a country with a long coastline along the Arabian Sea and a strategic geographic position that connects South Asia with the Middle East and beyond. Our maritime gateways include the Karachi port and Port Qasim, which are handling the majority of our cargo movement, and the Gwadar port, currently emerging as a potential regional hub under long-term development frameworks. These ports are not just gateways for imports and exports, they are vital arteries of our economy, central to trade, industrial growth, and regional connectivity. Yet, despite this potential, structural and operational challenges persist, and there remains a significant gap between potential and performance. Recent global rankings show that Pakistan's ports lag behind many of our regional counterparts in operational efficiency, leading to broader economic implications, including increased logistics costs, underutilized infrastructure, and missed opportunities for investment and trade expansion. Today's seminar has been organized to examine exactly these issues, why they exist, how they impact our economic competitiveness, and how they relate to broader questions about connectivity, export growth, and regional trade dynamics, along with the challenges surrounding transshipment in Pakistan. With this backdrop, it is my pleasure to introduce our distinguished panel of speakers. First, we have Dr. Waqas Anwar, Member for Infrastructure and Regional Connectivity at the Ministry of Planning, Development, and Special Initiatives. In this role, Dr. Anwar focuses on how infrastructure, planning, and connectivity strategies can support economic integration, including the development of transport and logistics networks that link our ports to markets at home and abroad. We are also joined by Ms. Alia Shahid, who currently serves as Additional Secretary in the Finance Division of the Government of Pakistan. Previously, she has served as the Director General of Ports and Shipping in the Ministry of Maritime Affairs. Her experience across maritime governance gives her a deep understanding of the economic, regulatory, and institutional dimensions of port performance. Our third speaker is Mr. Nadir Mumtaz Waraij, former chairman of the Karachi Port Trust. During his tenure, he led one of the most critical maritime institutions in the country and brings first-hand experience of the operational realities, challenges, and institutional constraints that affect our port's performance on a daily basis. We would like to start this discussion from a presentation by Dr. Nadir. So I'd like to hand over to you, Mr. Nadir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm grateful to the opportunity granted by PIDE, and I believe it's the second of the seminars or conferences on blue economy held by PIDE. The topic today is future of ports in Pakistan, challenges and opportunities for expansion. I have the trademark of blue economy. It's registered with the IPO Intellectual Property Organization. So when I acquired the trademark, what was surprising for me was that no one else had ever applied for it, despite so much talk about blue economy. This is the coastline of Karachi, the city. The jurisdiction of Karachi Port Trust, which is the Karachi Port, extends from Hawke's Bay Pillar 1. Okay, it extends from Hawke's Bay Pillar 1 till till Chunky Monkey, which is Clifton. So this is the jurisdiction of the port. I'll explain it a little more in detail. The limits of Karachi Port were defined in 1940 by Government of India, and port limits were extended from 3 nautical miles to 12 nautical miles. Continental shelf. So Pakistan's continental shelf is extended. First it was 200 nautical miles, then it became 290. The NHO stands for National Hydrographic Organization. So when you talk about maritime, you talk about seaports, you talk about jetties, you talk about ship recycling or ship breaking yards. Unfortunately, the people who don't live in Karachi, they don't have a good idea of the port and how it runs. Even the people in Karachi don't have much of ideas because access is restricted to some beaches only, and to some extent, ports are off limit.
Hmm.
So people can't just go into ports and see what's going on there. So you have three main seaports. One is Port Qasim, which was established in 1973. The other is Kapiti, which was established in 1887. Then you have Gwadar Port, which came around in the year 2000. Then you have a lot of fishing jetties, Keti Bandar, Korangi, Ormara, Pasti, Jiwani, along the coast of Sindh province and Balochistan province. And then you have a lot of authorized jetties. There are around more than 100 jetties. Some of them are authorized, some of them are unauthorized. And what happens, you get them converted into being authorized with the approval of the provincial government. They are mostly used for fishing purposes. Then you have a ship breaking or what's now called ship recycling yard at Gadani. So all the ports, they operate under the statutes, under the specific laws. Gwadar Port, everyone hears a lot about it in connection with CPEC. So it's a natural deep water port and it's basically a transshipment port. The other two ports are transit ports, transshipment ports, and hinterland ports. What that means is when a cargo comes to Karachi port or Port Qasim, it can go all the way up till Peshawar. It can go up till Central Asia. And there can also be transshipment activity. Transshipment means when a particular container comes at either of the two Karachi ports, it's unloaded there and it goes on another ship and it goes to another destination. But Gwadar is more or less, it was conceived as a transshipment port, and the cargo was not originally supposed to go from Gwadar to Central Asia or to the rest of the country. And next to at the Gwadar port, there is a basically industrial or special economic zone, which is part of the port as such. So there is an implementation agreement signed with originally it was signed with Singapore Port Authority, which constructed the port, and later on it left, and COPCH, this is a Chinese company, Chinese port holding company. It acquired it from from Singapore Port Authority. And it's the agreement, it took over the agreement and it has the port for up till 2045. So Gwadar port compared to the rest of the two ports at Karachi is not that active in terms of vessel traffic. It handled around 28 ships in the year 2022, and annually the other two ports, Port Qasim and Karachi port, handle around 3,600 ships annually. So you have a comparison of 28 ships being handled by one port and 3,600 ships being handled by the other two ports. Uh, and veto, when I say veto, the chairman or the chief executive or the board of the two ports at Karachi is nominated or appointed by the federal government, but in the case of Gwadar Port, that is not the case. So it's done jointly with the provincial government. Now, maritime economy worldwide is an emerging potential, and you hear a lot about it. It's an emerging discipline, and its potential has not been fully utilized or only to a fraction in Pakistan. Uh, Although you have a lot of external development agencies like World Bank, ADP, all churning out reports, but still this has come to the forefront only in the last decade or so. As you know, Karachi, since my age is more than most of you here, so Karachi used to be the aviation hub, the maritime hub, and the tourism hub of the region. But sadly, we have ceded it by neglect or unintentionally to regional ports. So, without naming, in my time, I used to see the Karachi airport was jam packed. and now it's the same. The volume of traffic or the number of flights has not appreciably increased, and other uh, airports in the region next to us have become the aviation hubs. Similar was the case with the ports and tourism. The streets of Karachi, the Sadr Elphinstone Street used to be choked with tourists, but now you hardly see any tourists there. So our coastline is 146 kilometers. 740 is Balochistan coastline, which is very not. It has not been focused, or it has been not developed at all. When you talk about exploiting fishing hydrocarbon, you have this exclusive economic zone which has been extended up to 290,000 square kilometers, and exploitation or using it has still to be done from seabed mining and tourism. So we have a lot of way to go forward. Um, this is just a study illustration of the coastline. You can see uh, the jetties, the ports, and last jetty is at Giovanni next to Iran. So role of ports are basically self-contained entities. The ports actually run the city. So Karachi is there because of the port of Karachi, now two ports. And the ports have massive revenues, and they usually do a lot of corporate uh, good what do you call that, corporate social responsibility activities. So Karachi port has huge sports facilities. It has its own hospital. uh, it has its own security, education. It has its own school, because all ports are designed like that. They basically run the city, and the port is the gateway of the country. As I mentioned earlier, transit, transshipment, and hinterland ports, two ports do that. The ownership models and structures vary worldwide. So recently in our country also, the ownership and structure of the ports, the container terminals, and the bulk cargo has uh, undergone a change. Ports versus ports. Now, the Karachi Port Trust and the Port Qasim, they do not compete with each other. They actually complement each other. Their dynamics are totally different. So, doesn't mean that they are fighting for the ships or the cargo which is coming. Ensuring food security. If you plan well, you develop silos at the ports, like wheat silos or grain silos and soybean storages. So what you can do is you can ensure a long-term foods chain supply, and that also prevents price volatility. The market price doesn't vary. Similarly, energy security, uh, like at Karachi port, there are around 400 uh, ta- tanks which contain crude or refined petroleum products. Presently, out of those 400, 200 are functional, and the other 200 are not in a good state, or they used to store other products. And if they can also be made functional, your energy security for the country would be ensured. Right now, your energy security is compromised in terms of commerce, so you can extend it up till 27 or 30 days, which is the standard requirement for energy security. This is a nice word, logistical integrated hubs. So generally what happens in the world, in advanced countries and regional ports as well, is the port is connected with the rail, and it's connected with the highways, and it's connected with the inland waterways. Um, Inland waterways is very important because you have that funding available by the external development agencies for inland waterways. And because of the carbon emission, it's even the carbon emission in the ports, inland waterways is lower than even in rail. But unfortunately, only 5% of the cargo from the ports goes via rail, and it mostly goes by trucks, which leads to congestion, environmental degradation, and it's very costly as well. Okay, last line is import-based exports, everything. So when I was at the port, although you are economists, you know about statistics. The panel knows, the speakers on the panel also know about statistics. But I found that we import practically everything. Every fortnight, a car carrier comes at the port and it brings around 2,500 cars. Every fortnight, a cattle carrier comes and it brings cattle. Cattle for dairy production and for meat is being imported every 15 days. And every 15 days, so that's about 24 times a year. And I actually saw how they herd the cattle and how they transport it into the trucks. And then soya bean, palm olive, containers, name it, and everything is imported. So it's quite saddening as well. Uh, then you must have heard about the what Trump has been doing in Panama versus going on with his containing China policy. So Panama Canal was port of Panama was operated by a Chinese company based in Hong Kong, Hutchison Port. It carries out and controls and operates terminals in about 23 countries in about 42 terminals. And one of those was Panama. So then you have the Shanghai Port Group, which is called the Shandong Port Group actually. So it also has dozens of terminals in many countries worldwide. Singapore Authority, same, around 50, it operates 50 terminals worldwide. Dubai Port, Abu Dhabi Port, they are in our Hutchison Port, Dubai Port, Abu Dhabi ports are operating our terminals as well. Even the container terminals and the bulk terminals now. Associated British Ports operates 21 terminals and ports in UK, and it's partially owned by Kuwait. Adani Ports Group of India acquires Israel's port of Haifa. So you see the access there. Oman's ports is also coming up, and they have around 90 vessels as compared to 13 vessels of our national flag carrier. If you look at this diagram, so it's a map of Saudi Arabia, and you can see the coastline, the east and west coast of Saudi Arabia is not connected directly. It has to bypass the coast of many other countries. And if you look at United Arab Emirates, even UAE is not connected directly with the ports. So its east and west ports are not directly connected. Oman comes in between. Same position with USA. The east coast and the west coast of USA is not connected. Unless it comes to Panama Canal, which takes a long time, it has to go all the way around South America. So as a country, we are very fortunate that our coast, all our ports and our coastline is directly connected. And within 14 to 16 hours, a ship or a vessel at average speed can reach from Karachi port till Jiwani or Gwadar. Now you have a lot of rivalry now going on because port is big business. Uh, First of all, the ports, Emirati ports and logistic operator, they used to dominate. Then the Saudis have also started to change their economy from hydrocarbon to maritime. So they trying to make their ports competitive with Emirati ports. And Oman has also come up. Oman was sort of in the background, but now it's also openly competing with the other regional ports. And it has the advantage, or it offers the advantage, that it's poised at the international shipping routes, and it's away from the Red Sea and the Houthis, so it's safe as well. Then you have Chabahar port of Iran. Now it's under sanctions, and it's not really doing that well as they would like us to believe. So it has very limited operations, and it's under sanctions to some extent. The UN and US sanctions, they do allow some shipping and traffic on humanitarian grounds for oil and medicines and food. A gray fleet and sanctions. What does that mean? Now, Iran's gray fleet basically trades its oil. The Iranian trade of hydrocarbons is around 70 billion US dollars, and it's doing it through the gray fleet. The gray fleet means the ship is registered in some uh, small countries, and what they do is because they cannot legitimately trade. Because of sanctions, we will not trade with them. The Western countries will not trade with them. So a ship comes from a unknown, not well-known flag, and they do ship-to-ship transfer, and then they take it to any of the ports in the region. And then what they do is at those ports, because the origin is not Iran, the origin is some other country like Vanuatu or Panama or some other small country like that. These are called flags of convenience. So they come to these known ports and they unload the cargo at those ports, and they acquire a certificate of blending or certificate of origin. And then that cargo of crude can go anywhere in the world. No sanctions apply. CPEC is very important for us, but I don't know whether the PPRA exemptions apply to it or not. Similarly, like CPEC, tax exemptions in the tax laws, there are a lot of exemptions, but I don't know whether CPEC projects have any particular exemption. This is a matter for research, and this can be looked upon as a research theme. Since one of my directions was that I have to propose and develop research teams for PIDE faculty and students. Challenges, the word privatization is obsolete. Now we are going into disinvestment. But whenever you go into disinvestment or you go into an agreement with any other international operator, you should take your time to negotiate and go for third-party international feasibility and studies. Balochistan fishing ports like Pasni, it used to be a very flourishing fishing port, but due to siltation, the port is not accessible by big boats. So it's only doing a portion of what it can do in terms of seafood processing and export. Ports run city. Now you must have heard of Gul Plaza, the fire in Karachi. Now from Karachi port, uh, there was a network of fire hydrants. It spread up till Soldier Bazaar, IH Chandragarh, where Gul Plaza is presently. And there were 2,500 fire hydrants in the city. So there was a pumping station at the port, and it pumps seawater, or you can take as much as you want, and 2,500 fire hydrants were served. So if those fire hydrants had been operational, there would have not been an issue of dousing the fire, because I've heard in the news or media, I don't know how correct it is, that the fire tenders could not they ran out of water, or they could not approach because of the traffic congestion. Now, the national flag carrier, it used to have a fleet of 66 ships. Now it's dwindled to 23. Gwadar port should be used at bunkering. Bunkering is fueling of ships. But you have 3,600 ships coming to Pakistan. No ship is taking fuel from Pakistan. That has to be looked into. And our refineries are willing to provide fuel. We could take copper gold projects. You have 600,000 tons of ore which is going to come. And it's not been decided it's going to come in a pipeline in slurry form, or it's going to be transported in ore form from the ships. The merchant navy seems to have vanished, and trade and port traffic volumes are linked. The ports are running at 50% capacity because there's not enough trade, and this has been going on since. So you have to increase your trade to make the ports operational. Predatory real estate practices. The Port Qasim has around 13,000 acres of land available. Karachi port has 576 square kilometers, 35 square kilometers is prime real estate. So that is available and it's not being utilized or being encroached upon. Corrosion and pollution, the entire sewage industrial effluent of Pakistan coming down to the south is being dumped into the sea, and which is hurting the marine species as well. Uh, you've heard, I've heard in the news that there's 100 billion potential of blue economy. So how to achieve it? So as I said, the ports run the city. New York Twin Towers, they were owned by the New York Port Authority. We pay 4.5 billion as freight charges for our shipping lines, for the external shipping lines, foreign shipping line. If we have more ships, then we don't have to pay that out. Remittances, I'll give you an example. Filipino seafarers, they earn $7 billion annually as remittances. And I think ours is a fraction compared to that. Commercial shipyard, we should have some shipyards. Commercial. Central Asia, Central Asian republics, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, they are opening up. They want to transport their agriculture and fertilizer, agriculture products, fertilizer minerals through our port because it costs them 1/3. And they are very keen to do it. They go through the port of Georgia, and that's a long drawn out process. Corporatization is a theme, research theme, whether your port should be, what should be the ownership structure, shall it be listed on the Karachi Stock Exchange? Petrochemical refinery. Now, Oman at Muscat, a petrochemical refinery has been established, funded by Qatar for 400,000 barrels per day to supply the shipping lines. So there's competition. Offshore drilling, we have had 14 offshore drills. They have not been successful commercially, but it takes a huge amount of capital for offshore drilling. And a regional country which did it invested around $1 billion. So it's expensive. This is Port Qasim. Now, as you say, you can see the approach channel is 49 kilometers long, and it's okay. And the last is that we have only 2 islands in our waters, so we should develop more islands, and we should like Pearl, Qatar, and like Dubai has made. So we should actually develop and maintain our islands. And gender parity in the maritime sector, I don't see any women. And this is entirely different in the other parts of the world, in the maritime industry. You have women on vessels, you have women in crewing, you have women who are managing the ports in technical positions. So it should be 50-50 or at least 60-40. Right. So this is the last slide. Now, inland waterways is very important. Iran is supplying drones as per news report to Russia, but it's doing it through its inland waterways. So inland waterways are being used to support the Russian armament industry in the Black Sea in its fight against Ukraine. As when you come to this, this is the Strait of Bosphorus, and Turkey doesn't allow, by international convention, no warships can enter into the Black Sea. And external assistance, if you present a proposal at formal level to the World Bank for inland waterways, they will extend you around 500 to 1 billion US dollars. They will fund it for you under the umbrella of carbon emission reduction. This is a map of Central Asia and how they want to approach to us. So that's it for now.
Thank you, Mr. Nadir, for that comprehensive presentation. Next, I'd like to invite Ms. Alia Shahid, who will delve into the critical issues surrounding transshipment and cabotage laws.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. It's a great pleasure to be sitting in front of young students and yes.
I think the main backdrop has been provided by Sir, and I won't go into more detail, but as I'm being asked about the cabotage and transshipment. But besides these two, I will also touch two other things that will be, I think, have a transcending value when it comes to the operationalization and functionality of ports. As Sir was saying that we used to be a sort of quite proactive and quite among the leading stakeholders in ports development internationally. But recently we had fall back. But the thing is that there are two, three things that needs to be looked into. We don't have a coastal shipping. All other countries, especially India and Bangladesh, they have a strong coastal shipping. I remember I was looking at the numbers. इंडिया के कुछ करीबन 100 के करीब जो हैं उनके कोस्टल शिपिंग से मुराद है कि एक ही कंट्री में आप मुख्तलिफ कोस्ट को टच करते हैं. So that is called coastal shipping, as well as it is also called as a cabotage shipping. And cabotage shipping is promoted in other countries because this is totally national thing. International actors are not included in that thing. And then it provides a spur for developing an international shipping industry in the country. But unfortunately, we don't have cabotage shipping. There is a mention of cabotage shipping in the merchant shipping ordinance, that is the overarching legislative framework for our maritime sector. But recently, there was a task force that was looking at different aspects of the maritime sector. So under this task force, we were asked to develop the cabotage shipping. Ministry of Maritime Affairs has recently, Port and Shipping Wing was mainly responsible. And so we developed this cabotage rules that would provide facilitation not between the interport transport, because this is one major area. If a container has to go from port Kasam to port KPT for further onward travel, it has to go via road linkage. Not the cabotage shipping is not there. So that is one area where PNSC, Pakistan National Shipping Corporation, has now trying to have a barge and provide this coastal travel. And also, this would also provide, this would, as Sir was saying, that railway and the coastal shipping would provide us the alternatives to the congestion on roads, especially vis-a-vis the Karachi Port Trust. I think we have almost 42% of our KPT is operational. But the city can't, definitely it's a function of export and import. More export and import, more definitely operation of the port would be functionalized. But right now, the city is hardly been able to take this load from the KPT. So in case if we want to operationalize or to increase the efficiency and the traffic of KPT, we need to have our road connectivity and alternative routes available. So right now, cabotage shipping is one option. Secondly, there is also sort of a project, that is PEPRI project, that is called. It will also connect both KPT and PQ. I'm not very much sure about the route, but this one project is also being envisaged, or rather under sort of quite strong consideration. So coastal shipping, as I was being asked, is a starting point for a country to go to transport things by their coast. So once these companies get developed, and then they can grow into major shipping lines. There is a policy in Pakistan which is called the Pakistan Merchant Policy earlier, and now it's being renamed as the Pakistan Shipping Policy. It has provided a lot of incentives and assurances for the private businesses or private parties to come forward and have a shipping line registered in Pakistan. But so far, even during my 3-year tenure, we had a number of meetings to ask the Pakistani businessmen कि आप भी एक शिपिंग लाइन अपनी खोलें जाके बाकी कंट्रीज में. पाकिस्तान में पहले थी, before 1970, as we were being told that we have 70 plus ships. Right now, सर मैं कलेक्ट करूँ, अभी इस वक्त PNSC के 12 शिप्स हैं. 13 हो गए. और देर इज ए मूव कि इस वक्त में भी वो मिनिस्टर साहब की है कि जी हम एक विद इन ए ईयर और 2 वी विल बी इंक्रीजिंग इट टू 30. सो हमारा जो शिपिंग इंडस्ट्री है वो इतनी वाइब्रेंट भी नहीं है, और वो सॉर्ट ऑफ अगर हम उन्हें कहते हैं कि जी आपको एश्योरेंसेस हैं, तो मतलब प्रैक्टिकली पाकिस्तान के एक हमारा मसला ये भी है कि वो एश्योरेंसेस आर नॉट consistent. So there was a tax exemption way back in the merchant shipping policy that was taken away one fine morning under IMF program. That was एक और मजबूरी थी पाकिस्तान की, लेकिन उससे ये हो रहा है कि जो शिपिंग इंडस्ट्री है वो एक तरह का फ्लरिश नहीं कर पा रही, और वो लोग जो कि पहले शिपिंग इंडस्ट्री यहाँ रन कर रहे थे, दे आर स्टिल डूइंग दिस बिजनेस बट अंडर अदर कंट्रीज फ्लैग्स. सो एक ये एरिया है कैबोटेज फिशिंग की तरफ अगर हम चले जाते हैं तो एक ब्रीडिंग ग्राउंड प्रोवाइड करेगी, और उसमें प्लस पॉइंट ये होता है कि यूजुअली इससे मतलब आपके आप किसी इंटरनेशनल कंपेटिटिवनेस नहीं होती, और एश्योरेंसेस होती है कि इतना बिजनेस आपको मिलेगा. बांग्लादेश इज डूइंग वेरी वेल व्हेन इट कम्स टू द कोस्टल शिपिंग एंड कैबोटेज शिपिंग. सेकेंडली हम बात कर रहे थे ट्रांसशिपमेंट की. जैसे सर ने बताया कि ट्रांसशिपमेंट से मुराद है कि एक मदरशिप वुड कम एंड देन दीज लोड डिफरेंट जो लोड्स होते हैं वो डिफरेंट कंट्रीज में चले जाएंगे. उसके लिए दो कंस्ट्रेंट्स तो हमारे एक हैं. एक तो ये है कि पाकिस्तान वे पोर्ट नहीं है एज वी आर बीइंग टोल्ड, बट एट द सेम टाइम वी डोंट हैव हमारे मदरशिप्स, हम उसको अकोमोडेट भी नहीं कर सकते. अभी ड्रेजिंग हो रही है, पोर्ट कासम की तरफ भी कोशिश की जा रही है कि 17-18 तक इसमें मीटर में चला जाए. सो ये कंस्ट्रेंट्स हैं. बट एक ऑप्शन जो कि जो मेरी वो जो शिपिंग लाइंस हमें कहती हैं वो ये है कि पाकिस्तान ने पोटेंशियल, गवादर हैज ए पोटेंशियल टू बिकम ए ट्रांजिट पोर्ट. ट्रांजिट पोर्ट से मुराद ये है कि हम मतलब शिप वंस द शिप रीचेज द पोर्ट, उसके बाद दूसरी जो है रेल लिंक है या रोड लिंक है वो यूज होंगे और सामान फर्दर आगे जाएगा, से फॉर इन सेंट्रल एशियन जा भी रहा है. तो वी ऑल्सो नीड टू डेवलप दिस एस्पेक्ट more sort of with the more sort of exemptions and with more assurances from the government side that the and also from the infrastructure जो इसकी requirements है, hinterland connectivity है, roads चाहिए गवादर से जो आगे लेके जाएं, प्लस सिक्योरिटी. सो वो एक ऑप्शन हमारे पास है जो कि मेरा ख्याल है हमें फुली कैपिटलाइज करनी चाहिए. थर्ड एक और चीज जैसे बात हो रही थी ह्यूमन रिसोर्स की, अगर आप कहते हैं तो मैं दो तीन चीजें और कंटिन्यू कर लूं कि वी कैन. ह्यूमन रिसोर्स की, इट्स ट्रू के पाकिस्तान मर्चेंट शिपिंग यूज टू sort of have a central position when it comes to the manning of merchant vessels, लेकिन अभी रिसेंटली हम इसमें थोड़ा सा रिसीड कर रहे हैं. दो तीन इश्यूज हैं. एक हमारे पास हमारी शायद इतनी ज्यादा स्ट्रांगली हम इसको कम्युनिकेट नहीं कर रहे टू द नेक्स्ट न्यू जनरेशन कि दिस इज एन ऑप्शन अवेलेबल. मर्चेंट शिपिंग इज ए गुड करियर. आप जो एंटर पाकिस्तान मेरीन एकेडमी इस वक्त एक गवर्नमेंट ऑफ एकेडमी है जो कि after inter they take cadets, and after 2 years these cadets are become the crew, the officers of the merchant shipping. उसके बाद different exams हैं. वो exams भी मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ मैरीटाइम अफेयर्स कंडक्ट करती है अंडर STCW कन्वेंशन है जो कि स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ ट्रेनिंग एंड सर्टिफिकेशन एंड वॉच कीपिंग कन्वेंशन जो इंटरनेशनल मैरीटाइम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की है. उसके तहत पाकिस्तान इज राइट नाउ इन द वाइट लिस्ट. सो पाकिस्तान सर्टिफिकेट्स आर बीइंग टेकन वेरी फेवरेबली. वहां पर हमारे जैसे सर कह रहे थे कि अभी हमारी जो एड है हमारा आता है पाकिस्तान मेरीन एकेडमी का, इट इज रिस्ट्रिक्टेड टू बॉयज. So that is a systemic issue. We discussed this thing with the Pakistan Marine Academy. They are open, but I think ये हमें इस पर भी थोड़ा काम करने की ज़रूरत है. बांग्लादेश में, इंडिया में तकरीबन 50% मेरीन एकेडमी में, उनकी मेरीन एकेडमी में 50% बॉयज़ एंड 50% गर्ल्स हैं. यहाँ पर एक मेरी जो टेक्निक जो प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूट है, वन है एक अभी बच्ची नीलम के नाम से, शी इज ऑन शिप, वो पाकिस्तान की पहली फीमेल कैडेट है, और सेकंड टू मोर आर अंडर ट्रेनिंग. सो पोटेंशियल इज देयर. इसी तरह क्रू में उसमें क्रूजेज में अगर हम इसमें जाते हैं तो देयर इज ह्यूज पोटेंशियल. वी हैव यूथ बल्ज, वी कैन एक्सप्लॉयट एंड वी कैन कैपिटलाइज ऑन दिस बाय ओपनिंग दिस फील्ड टू आवर गर्ल्स, यंग गर्ल्स ऑल्सो. And another thing which I would say जो भी टच भी हुई है वो है थी मेरीन पोल्यूशन. Recently 470, this is a number I very scary, कि 470 mgd millions gallon per day is going to sea every day untreated. इसमें आपका सीवेज भी है और इसमें आपका इंडस्ट्रियल इफ्लुएंट भी है. सो वी नीड टू कीप आवर सीज clean. अभी पिछले दिनों 2-3 months back there was a transport minister conference in Islamabad, and I happened to attend it. इसमें जो आपके जो थे Maldives के transport minister, he just said one thing: clean seas, clean seas, clean seas. और हमें लग रहा था, हमें बता रहे हैं कि भाई हमारा जो इस वक्त even I think KPT has sort of received some letter of protest from the shipping lines. These sort of polluted waters are damaging their ships. So this is a transcending issue. There is a solution available to that. एक project शुरू हुआ था 2013 में federal government and between सिंध government की joint efforts के साथ. If we complete half of this project, even our Liari river would be completely out of pollution. So this thing is doable, and जो पानी recycle आपको मिलेगा, that would be used by the industry. So this is a win-win situation. I would request this via this forum कि हम इस चीज को भी बहुत strongly आगे लेके आए कि हमें अपनी marine pollution को manage कैसे करना है. So with these words, if anything else is needed, I will say that this is enough from me.
Next up, I'll invite Dr. Vikas to share his perspectives around regional connectivity.
Actually, I just wanted to, because blue economy, a lot has been discussed in planning commission as well, and rather on the regional connectivity and so many other issues we have been discussing in planning commission, but I would restrict myself on the ports only. मैं सिर्फ कुछ बेसिक चीजें आपको पोर्ट्स के बारे में बताना चाहूँगा, just for the audiences, because आप लोगों ने शायद this topic will be not new, but may not be conversant with this topic. पाकिस्तान के we have 3 ports at the moment ना. एक KPT है, कराची पोर्ट ट्रस्ट है, second is the Port Qasim, and third is the ग्वादर पोर्ट है. तीनों पोर्ट्स के has its own dynamics. अगर हम KPT की बात करें, it has its own dynamics. पोर्ट कासिम के अपने डायनेमिक्स हैं, एंड एट द सेम टाइम ग्वादर पोर्ट के अपने डायनेमिक्स हैं. पोर्ट कासिम की जो कराची पोर्ट्स हैं, these are the 2 ports located in Karachi. इनके डायनेमिक्स, the first thing is we have the dwell time from 8 to 10 days. dwell time का मतलब ये है कि एक शिप आता है, पोर्ट के ऊपर लगता है, एंड देन वो उसका जो कंटेनर है पोर्ट से जब आउट होता है, दैट इज अ dwell time. It takes 8 to 10 days के पोर्ट के क्लियर होने से लेके और पोर्ट से निकलने के लिए टेक्स 8 से 10 दिन लगते हैं. अगर हम इसका कंपैरिजन करें विद अदर रीजनल पोर्ट्स, तो मेरे पास ये स्टैटिस्टिक्स हैं. अगर इंडिया की बात करते हैं तो तकरीबन 4 डेज लगते हैं, बांग्लादेश के 7 डेज लगते हैं, वियतनाम के 5 डेज लगते हैं, एंड चाइना के 5 दिन लगते हैं पोर्ट से क्लियर होने के लिए. दिस वन ऑफ द इशू इन द पोर्ट्स के हमारा ड्वेल टाइम बहुत ज़्यादा लगता है. उसकी फिर फर्दर हम उसके ऊपर आएंगे कि व्हाट आर द रिकमेंडेशंस और उसके ऊपर. सेकंड थिंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, has already been discussed. Second is the hinterland connectivity. Hinterland connectivity का मतलब ये है कि पोर्ट से निकल के आपने जो मेन रोड है उसके ऊपर आना है. इफ यू टॉक अबाउट कराची पोर्ट्स, तो कराची पोर्ट का मतलब है कि जब पोर्ट से आप KPT से निकलते हैं उसके बाद फिर M9 के ऊपर आते हैं, दैट इज द हिंटरलैंड कनेक्टिविटी. और आप रे लैंड के ऊपर अगर आते हैं तो दैट इज द हिंटरलैंड कनेक्टिविटी. तो हमारी जो पोर्ट्स हैं, पोर्ट कासिम के लिए वी हैव द बेटर हिंटरलैंड कनेक्टिविटी. फॉर द पोर्ट KPT वी हैव वेरी बैड हिंटरलैंड कनेक्टिविटी. बहुत ज़्यादा कंजेशन है. उसका अंदाज़ा आप इस तरह लगा सकते हैं कि 24 आवर्स तो आपके शाम को सुबह 6 बजे से लेकर रात 10 बजे तक कंटेनर वहाँ पे विद इन द सिटी मूव नहीं कर सकता. दैट इज वन ऑफ द इशू जिससे आपको बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम वेस्ट होता है. इसके अलावा थर्ड इज हमारे जो KPT और पोर्ट कासिम है, इसकी कैपेसिटी एट द मोमेंट तो ठीक है, बट बाय 2030 ये जो इसकी ये ओवर इसकी रिक्वायरमेंट होगी कि हमें और बर्थ्स की रिक्वायरमेंट होगी कि हमें इसे खोलने की जरूरत होगी. इसके अलावा ग्वादर पोर्ट की ऑपरेशनलाइजेशन, इसके ऊपर काफ़ी प्राइम मिनिस्टर को भी काफ़ी सारी मीटिंग्स हो चुकी हैं और इसको गवर्नमेंट इज एडमेंट कि इस पोर्ट को ऑपरेशनलाइज किया जाए. ग्वादर पोर्ट के हैज इट्स ओन डायनेमिक्स. एक द वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग इशू, हमने काफ़ी सारे पोर्ट उनसे बात भी की. वहाँ पे चाइना ओवरसीज पोर्ट होल्डिंग कंपनी एट द मोमेंट इज ऑपरेटिंग, बट जब हमने उनसे बात की, सिक्योरिटी इज द वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट इशू. जब उनसे बात की और हमने उसे कॉन्फ्रेंस पे जब इनवाइट किया, तो जो चाइना ओवरसीज पोर्ट होल्डिंग कंपनी का, ही वाज अनएबल टू मूव फ्रॉम कराची टू इस्लामाबाद इन 3 to 4 days. और उसके अलावा वो दे आर कन्फाइंड इन द ग्वादर पोर्ट के अंदर कन्फाइंड है. वो एक ऐसी कंपनी जिसने पोर्ट ऑपरेट कर रहा है, वो अगर कन्फाइंड है तो उसने बिजनेस क्या करना है. दिस इज वन ऑफ द मेजर इशू। ग्वादर पोर्ट क्यों नहीं चल रहा? मैं उन हमेशा उन वेरियस फोरम्स ये बात करता हूँ कि ग्वादर पोर्ट इसलिए नहीं चल रहा बिकॉज वन ऑफ द मेजर कंसर्न इज द सिक्योरिटी। कि जब आपका पोर्ट, जिसने पोर्ट चलाना है, 40 ईयर्स के लिए कंसेशन है विद चाइना ओवरसीज पोर्ट होल्डिंग कंपनी, और वो पोर्ट होल्डिंग कंपनी वहां से मूव नहीं कर सकता उसका बंदा, तो उन्होंने बिजनेस क्या करना है? वन। सेकंड, वहां पे जो शिप्स आएंगे, वो अगर आपके शिप्स किसी भी दूसरे पोर्ट से या दूसरे कंट्री से हमारे पास आते हैं, तो उनकी जो इंश्योरेंस कॉस्ट है वो बहुत ज्यादा इंक्रीज हो जाती है बिकॉज ऑफ द सिक्योरिटी। तो इसलिए वो उनके लिए वायबल ही नहीं रहता कि वो ग्वादर पोर्ट के ऊपर है। हम वो टॉक अबाउट, हम जितना भी बात कर लें कि ट्रांसशिपमेंट आए, ग्वादर में आए, और इसमें हम वो चलें, तो मे नॉट बी पॉसिबल टिल द टाइम। और हम जब मैडम बैठी हैं, खैर, जब हमने उनसे ये बात की, कुछ हमने काफी ज्यादा एक्सपर्ट से ग्वादर पोर्ट को कैसे ऑपरेशनलाइज किया जाए, तो उन्होंने दो तीन बातें की, जिसमें से द फर्स्ट थिंग वाज सिक्योरिटी एंड सेकंड थिंग वाज कि किसी भी आप ब्यूरोक्रेट को उसका जो है ना ग्वादर पोर्ट का वो सीईओ ना लगाएं, बिकॉज इट इज अ स्पेशलाइज्ड जॉब। तो आप उसी बंदे को लगाएं जो शिपिंग कंपनीज उनमें से जो दे आर द एक्सपर्ट्स, तो उनको लगाया जाए। दैट वाज देयर की, हम कह लेंगे, कंक्लूजन्स है, कंसर्न्स थे जो उन्होंने हमारे से बातचीत की। इसके अलावा कंटेनर्स, जो पोर्ट परफॉर्मेंस इंडेक्स है, वी आर तकरीबन हमारा 2024 का 99 बनता है, जो इज़ वेरी लेस। उसके अलावा पीक्यूए जो पोर्ट कासिम है, दैट इज़ द नाइन्थ मोस्ट इम्प्रूव्ड पोर्ट्स इन द वर्ल्ड। बहुत अच्छा है, वहाँ पे बल्क कंटेनर्स आते हैं, वो है। बट देयर देयर आर इश्यूज, जो हिंटरलैंड के इश्यूज हैं, एंड प्लस हमारी जो रेल की कनेक्टिविटी उनके साथ नहीं है। और बाकी इसके अलावा अभी अफगान पाक ट्रांसिटेट जो एग्रीमेंट है वो ख़त्म हुआ है, जिसकी वजह से हमारे पोर्ट्स, दैट इज़ वन ऑफ द ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द रीजंस कि हमारे पोर्ट्स, पहले ग्वादर पोर्ट में कुछ शिप्स आ जाते थे, लेकिन अभी वो शिप्स भी हमारे पास नहीं आ रहे। इसके अलावा नेक्स्ट प्रॉब्लम इज कि केपीटी और पीक्यूए ड्राई कार्गो, दे आर बीइंग ट्रांसपोर्टेड थ्रू रोड। पूरी दुनिया के अंदर पोर्ट्स से जो कार्गोज ट्रांसपोर्ट होते हैं वो रेल पे ट्रांसपोर्ट होते हैं। वी आर द ओनली पोर्ट्स जो हमारे, बिकॉज ML1 की हमारी कैपेसिटी नहीं, और ML1 प्रोजेक्ट भी हमारे पास आ रहा है, लाइकली टू बी ग्राउंड ब्रेकिंग उसकी हो रही है इन जुलाई। लेकिन वो तो जब 10 साल, 5 साल, 7 साल के अंदर बनेगा तो बनेगा, बट वो हमारी वो जो कनेक्टिव वो नहीं है। फिर मैंने आपको जिस तरीके से बताया, सुबह 6 AM से लेके 10 PM तक आपका सुबह आपके ट्रक्स वहां पे मूव नहीं कर सकते। जब आपने पोर्ट से आपने उसको ट्रांसपोर्ट करना है, दो ट्रक्स कैन नॉट मूव। रेल की एक्सेस नहीं है। उसके अलावा केपीटी के ऊपर और पोर्ट कासिंग के ऊपर अगेन देर इज नो रेल कनेक्टिविटी। इसी तरह ग्वादर पोर्ट में देर इज नो रेल, है ही नहीं हमारी वहां पे। ML4 इज प्लान्ड। नहीं 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 नहीं, मैं अभी आपको बता, तो बर्स हमारे पास पूरी नहीं। हमारा एक प्रोजेक्ट चल रहा है पिपरी टू केपीटी, क्योंकि वो वो उसमें, लेकिन वो उनको अगेन दे हैव टू। और दूसरा ये कि हमारी ML1 की कैपेसिटी नहीं है, वी डोंट हैव द कैपेसिटी। ML1 की कैपेसिटी नहीं हो तो इतना ज्यादा लोड लेने की।
रेलवेज और FI के हम कैपेसिटी से बहुत नीचे काम कर रहे हैं, इवन मौजूदा रेलवे लाइन
जी,
पे भी।
ऐसे ऐसे यही तो मैं बात कर रहा हूँ आपका।
तो
और दूसरा
कैपेसिटी तो बहुत ज्यादा है हमारे पास।
वहां पे रेल कनेक्टिविटी इज देयर, बट दोज आर नॉट बीइंग यूज्ड। उसके रेल के इश्यूज हैं जो फर्दर उसको ML1 के साथ कनेक्ट करना है, वो अभी यूज नहीं हो रहे। और सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज ये है कि जो केपीटी का बोर्ड है, उसके अंदर जो रेलवेज का, देर इज नो रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ रेलवेज इन द केपीटी बोर्ड। केपीटी बोर्ड के अंदर दीज आर द सम स्ट्रक्चरल इशू जो हमने काफी फोरम्स के ऊपर हमने हाईलाइट भी किया है। इसमें अभी नहीं है केपीटी के बोर्ड के ऊपर। अच्छा, इसके इसके बाद दीज आर सम ऑफ द इश्यूज जो हमने हाईलाइट किया। अदरवाइज ब्लू इकोनॉमी इज अ बिगर सब्जेक्ट, जिसके अंदर आपकी एक्वाकल्चर भी आता है, ठीक है। उसके बाद पोर्ट्स एंड शिपिंग भी आता है, उसके अंदर फिर आपकी ऑफशोर ऑनशोर माइनिंग भी आती है, फिर शिप की रिकंस्ट्रक्शन कंस्ट्रक्शन भी आती है, एंड रिसाइकलिंग जिसको बोलते हैं, एंड शिप ब्रेकिंग भी इज ऑल्सो द पार्ट ऑफ दिस ब्लू इकोनॉमी। बट आई ओनली टच अपॉन द पोर्ट इश्यूज, जो हमारे कराची के और तीनों पोर्ट्स के जो इश्यूज हैं हमारे, वो क्या हैं। अच्छा, इसमें हमने ना कुछ रिकमेंडेशंस दी थी। हमने रिसेंटली, शायद मैडम ने भी अटेंड की थी, अपने एक ब्लू इकोनॉमी के ऊपर की थी। उसके ऊपर काफ़ी हमने लंबी चौड़ी थी, दैट वाज अ लॉन्ग डिस्कशन। बट उसके अंदर हमने जो पोर्ट्स एंड शिपिंग्स के ऊपर कुछ की रिकमेंडेशंस थी, और अभी हम उसको ज़्यादा प्रैक्टिकल बना रहे हैं, सो दैट वी कैन प्रेजेंट इट टू प्राइम मिनिस्टर, आगे हम कर सकें। इसमें ड्वेल टाइम को रिड्यूस करने की जरूरत है। ड्वेल टाइम मैंने जिस तरह बताया 8 से 10 दिन है, उसके अंदर जो हमारे हर्डल्स हैं, एक इन्होंने एक स्टडी भी अपनी करवाई है, जो कुछ हर्डल्स हैं एक तो उनको डिजिटाइज करने की जरूरत है, पूरी दुनिया के अंदर डिजिटाइज होते हैं, हम अभी भी उन्हीं मैनुअल सिस्टम्स के ऊपर चल रहे हैं। अभी मैं थोड़े से पढ़ के आपको बताता हूँ। गुड्स डिक्लेरेशन फिलिंग डिलेज हैं, कंटेनर ग्राउंडिंग इश्यूज हैं, टेस्टिंग के डिलेज हैं, लैब की टेस्टिंग, फॉर एग्जांपल माइंस एंड आपकी मिन वो आते हैं तो मिनरल्स के लिए, तो हमारे पास कोई लैब इस तरीके से अवेलेबल नहीं है। टैक्स और ड्यूटी पेमेंट के हर्डल्स हैं, डिजिटल इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ पोर्ट ऑपरेशंस एंड गेट आउट क्लियरेंस ऑब्स्टिकल्स हैं। दीज आर फ्यू इश्यूज हैं जो जिसकी वजह से जिनको आप एड्रेस करते हैं तो आप अपना ड्वेल टाइम कम कर सकते हैं उसके अंदर। सेकंड जो हमने रिकमेंडेशन दी है, दैट इज द डीप वाटर मॉडर्नाइजेशन। क्योंकि हमारे जो अभी वहाँ पे बर्थ्स है केपीटी के अंदर, उनकी तकरीबन डेप्थ 14 मीटर की है। उसकी कंटिन्यूस ड्रेजिंग की जरूरत है। अगर आपने बड़े कार्गोज और बड़े शिप्स वहाँ पे लेके आने, उसकी ड्रेजिंग की जरूरत है। उसको आप टिल 16 अगर मॉडर्नाइज करना है तो 16 मीटर तक उसकी डेप्थ को लेके जाना पड़ेगा। अभी हमने कराची के अंदर भी ड्रेजिंग का एक तकरीबन 2.5 बिलियन का एक प्रोजेक्ट हमने किया, जिससे हमने इसकी इसकी जो डेप्थ थी वो रिड्यूस होकर 8-9 मीटर तक आ गई थी। तो उसको हमने फर्दर एक्सक्वेट करके ड्रेज करके हमने उसकी जो डेप्थ है उसको इंक्रीज किया, सो दैट बिगर शिप्स कैन कम ऑन पोर्ट ग्वादर, इन ग्वादर। इसके बाद रेल कनेक्टिविटी का रिवाइवल, दैट इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। कि रेल हम लोग ये कह रहे हैं कि हमने जो अपनी रिकमेंडेशन दी कि रीबिल्ड फ्रेट कॉरिडोर्स फ्रॉम फैसलाबाद, ये तमाम इंडस्ट्रियल सिटीज हैं, फैसलाबाद, सियालकोट, लाहौर टू कराची पोर्ट्स। इससे ये होगा कि 60 ट्रक्स का एक आपकी जो है ना लॉजिस्टिक कॉस्ट आपकी रिड्यूस हो जाएगी 30 to 40%, अगर हम उससे, और दूसरा हाईवे की अपनी कंजेशन भी कम हो जाएगी। दैट वाज द थर्ड रिकमेंडेशन। इसके अलावा कोल्ड चेन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, दैट इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि हमारे पास कोई कोल्ड चेन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं है। अगर आपने ब्लू इकोनॉमी और एक्वाकल्चर और फिशरीज की एक्सपोर्ट करनी है तो दीज आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि हमारे पास कोल्ड चेन। लेकिन ये प्राइवेट, कुछ दीज आर नॉट द ऑल फंक्शंस जो हमने गवर्नमेंट ने करने हैं, दीज आर द प्राइवेट सेक्टर फंक्शन। लेकिन उनको कुछ इंसेंटिवाइज करना पड़ेगा, ड्राइव करना पड़ेगा गवर्नमेंट को, सो दैट कि ये इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर हो सके। इसके अलावा इन्हांस पोर्ट सिक्योरिटी है, फिजिकल और साइबर सिक्योरिटी है, मॉडर्न सर्विलेंस, इंटीग्रेटेड ऑटोमेटिक आइडेंटिफिकेशन सिस्टम, रोबोटिक साइबर सिक्योरिटी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एज कंप्लायंस है एज पर द इंटरनेशनल शिपिंग सिक्योरिटी स्टैंडर्ड्स के मुताबिक। फिर इसके अलावा ऑलरेडी बातचीत हो चुकी है कि मैरीटाइम की ट्रेनिंग इज आल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। हमारे पास कोई वोकेशनल इस तरह ट्रेनिंग या प्रोफेशनल प्रोग्राम्स नहीं है कि जो मैरीटाइम की ट्रेनिंग करवा सकें, तो हमें स्किल्ड मैन पावर की रिक्वायरमेंट है इन द फॉरेन मार्केट्स एज वेल, और हमें विद इन पाकिस्तान भी। इसके अलावा एक वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट जो पॉइंट था कि एक पॉलिसी रिकमेंड करें सो दैट कि एक अनक्लेम्ड या अनक्लियर कंटेनर है, इस पर बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम लग जाता है। हम ये कहते हैं कि बाज कंटेनर्स आ जाते हैं पोर्ट्स के ऊपर, लेकिन उनको कोई क्लेम नहीं होता। दोज आर अनक्लेम्ड एंड अनक्लियर्ड कंटेनर्स। वो इससे कि उसकी पॉलिसी होनी चाहिए विद इन मे बी 90 डेज के अंदर, अगर कोई क्लेम नहीं आता तो उसको जो है ना ऑक्शन कर दिया जाए, जो भी उसका डिस्पोजल करना है वो कर दिया जाए। इसके अलावा वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग जो हमने चाइना के अंदर देखी, इन द रेस्ट ऑफ द डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज के अंदर देखी है, कि जो इंडस्ट्रियल क्लस्टर्स हैं लाइक पोर्ट कासम, ग्वादर के अंदर, उन पोर्ट्स जो ना दे आर बेस्ड ऑन द, हम ट्रांसशिपमेंट की बात करते हैं कि जी ट्रांसशिपमेंट होनी। ट्रांसशिपमेंट का मतलब है बड़ा शिप आया, वहां पे कंटेनर्स अनलोड किए, फिर छोटा शिप जाके फर्दर अपनी डेस्टिनेशन के ऊपर छोड़ के आया। लेकिन टिल द टाइम ये स्पेशल इकोनॉमिक जोन्स के जो क्लस्टर्स हैं, दे आर नॉट इंटीग्रेटेड विद दीज पोर्ट्स, तो वो उसका मेरा ख्याल है कि बहुत ज्यादा फायदा नहीं होगा। कि वो ट्रांजिट वाले भी तभी आते हैं जब इफ द आपके वो इंडस्ट्रियल क्लस्टर्स होंगे वहां पे। एंड देन ग्लोबल शिपिंग एंड टर्मिनल ऑपरेटर्स, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट के टर्मिनल ऑपरेटर्स को, जो बड़े बड़े टर्मिनल्स ऑपरेटर हैं उनको अट्रैक्ट किया जाए, इंसेंटिवाइज किया जा सके, सो दैट कि वो उनके साथ बातचीत की जाए और वो उनके शिप्स यहाँ पे आए। अगेन फिर नेशनल शिपिंग पॉलिसी के टैक्सेस को कम करना चाहिए। इसके अलावा पोर्ट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर रीवर्किंग, रीबिल्डिंग भी कैरिड आउट फॉर द एग्जिस्टिंग ट्रैक्स, डायरेक्ट रेल बर्थ्स। फिर इसमें ये पिपरी टू जिसकी मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, पिपरी टू केपीटी, दिस बीइंग डन बाय रेलवेज एंड ये जो हमारा डीपी वर्ल्ड है ये कर रहे हैं। इसके अलावा लियारी फ्रेट एक्सप्रेसवे इज बीइंग प्लान्ड फॉर हिंटरलैंड कनेक्टिविटी फ्रॉम केपीटी टिल M9 जो हमारी मोटरवे है, या जिसको पहले सुपर हाईवे कहते थे, इज अ प्रोजेक्ट इज प्लान्ड, उसकी फिजिबिलिटी स्टडी हैज बीन कैरिड आउट, और उसका फर्दर प्रोजेक्ट आना विद इन 2 to 3 days, 3 years वो प्रोजेक्ट विल बी कंप्लीटेड। और लास्टली विद रिगार्ड्स टू हमारी कनेक्टिविटी कनेक्टिविटी के जो प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, मैं थोड़े से आपको बता देता हूँ। वन ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट इज द मेन प्रोजेक्ट इज मेन लाइन ML1। वी हैव बीन लिसनिंग दिस ML1 फॉर लास्ट 10 years, 10 साल से 11 साल हो गए, बट वो अभी तक उसकी ग्राउंड ब्रेकिंग नहीं हो सकी। सेकंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट प्रोजेक्ट इज ML4। ML4 हम लोग ये कहते हैं कि देयर इज ए मिनरल कॉरिडोर। अगर आप चागी एंड ऊपर बलूचिस्तान के अंदर जाते हैं, एक तो रिकोडिक जो है वहाँ पे माइनिंग हो रही है, एंड सेकंड इज द सैंडेक और साडेक के अंदर इज हो रही है। रिकोडिक वाले दे आर ट्रांसपोर्टिंग देयर वॉल्यूम्स वाया पोर्ट कासिम। तो आप देखें कि वहाँ से ऑल द वे वहाँ से जाना है 1200 1250 किलोमीटर आपने ट्रैवल करना है, और करना है वही। अगर पोर्ट हमारा ग्वादर पोर्ट है, वही मेक इट ऑपरेशनल तो वो उधर से कर सकते हैं। एंड सेकेंडली सैडेक दे आर इंटरेस्टेड कि वो इस पोर्ट से करें। अगर उस पे भी एक ML4 इज प्लान्ड, हम उसमें ये कर रहे हैं कि ऊपर नौकंडी से लेके नीचे अप टिल पंजगूर एंड देन पंजगूर टू ग्वादर हम उसको वी आर ट्राइंग के जी उसकी भी फिजिबिलिटी स्टडी हो जाए, रेल की भी एंड रोड की भी कनेक्टिविटी हो जाए। देन फिर हमारी M8 इज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द मेजर लिंक्स। M8 जो है दैट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम, अगर ग्वादर से चलते हैं, ग्वादर से अप टिल होशाब, अगर बलूचिस्तान का इसे एक्सपीरियंस है, होशाब से फिर फर्दर आगे खुशदार को ये मिलती है, एंड खुशदार से आगे रत्तो डेरो तक जाती है। दिस है M8। ये एक पूरा लिंक है। बीच में वन लिंक इज मिसिंग फ्रॉम दिस होशाब टिल अप टिल खुशदार, ये दिस लिंक इज मिसिंग, और इसके ऊपर कंस्ट्रक्शन हो रही है, तो ये भी हो जाएगा। वन इंपॉर्टेंट लिंक जो रीजनल कनेक्टिविटी के लिए इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट इज N50 रोड, जो कोयटा से चलती है। अगर किसी ने कोयटा ट्रेवल किया हो, कोयटा से चल के अप टिल DI खान आती है, ठीक है। तो वो बीच का जो पोर्शन है फ्रॉम कोयटा टिल DI खान बस तक, वो दैट रोड है, बट वो सस्टेन शायद नहीं कर सके। दिस इज द वेस्टर्न रूट ऑफ CPEC, अगर हम उसके ऊपर आते हैं तो दैट इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। देन N25 इज ऑल्सो जो दैट कनेक्ट्स कराची विद चमन के साथ कनेक्ट करती है वाया कोयटा। तो वो उसके ऊपर काम शुरू हो गया, लाइकली इट विल बी कंप्लीटेड विद इन 2 years, 2 साल के अंदर कंप्लीट हो जाएगी। लियारी एलिवेटेड एक्सप्रेस वे, आई हैव ऑलरेडी टॉक्ड अबाउट इट, कि वो आपकी उधर से KPT से जाएगी एंड विल कनेक्ट विद M9। और बस दीज आर कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं जो दे आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। अगर आप देखते हैं, अगर हमारी कनेक्टिविटी, रेल की कनेक्टिविटी की बात करते हैं, ईरान की अगर करते हैं, वो कनेक्ट ईरान विद वाया ML3। फिर उसके बाद अगर अफगानिस्तान की बात करते हैं, तो अफगानिस्तान में फिर तोरखम इज इम्पोर्टेंट है, चमन के जरिए हम उनसे कनेक्टिविटी है। इसी तरीके से चाइना की है शिनजियांग प्रोविंस, रीअलाइनमेंट ऑफ KKH इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट प्रोजेक्ट। और क्योंकि अगर शिनजियांग प्रोविंस जो है उसको 2000 किलोमीटर पड़ता है, अगर वो अपने पोर्ट से उसको ट्रांसपोर्ट इस प्रोविंस को, तो इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट को हम अगर उसको ग्वादर के साथ, ग्वादर की बेसिकली CPEC की जो कनेक्टिविटी थी ग्वादर में, वो शिनजियांग प्रोविंस के साथ थी। दैट वाज द मेजर प्रोविंस, सो दैट कि वो उसके साथ लिंक हो जाए एंड उसकी कनेक्टिविटी हो जाए। These are the few important projects जो with regards to regional connectivity connecting our ports। ports के लिए इसमें काफ़ी सारी स्टडीज हो चुकी हैं। द इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग इज हाउ टू मटेरियलाइज दो स्टडीज, और उसके अंदर जो रिकमेंडेशंस उनको कैसे मटेरियलाइज किया जा सकता है। एंड लास्टली ये है कि वी नीड टू इन्हांस आर एक्सपोर्ट्स। जब तक एक्सपोर्ट्स नहीं, क्योंकि पोर्ट मींस इंपोर्ट एंड एक्सपोर्ट, पोर्ट्स का यही वो है, अपार्ट फ्रॉम अदर ब्लू इकोनॉमी जिसमें एक्वाकल्चर और बाकी चीज़ें आती है, बट दिस इंपोर्ट एंड एक्सपोर्ट्स होंगी तो पोर्ट्स चलेंगे। तो आर फोकस आर फर्स्ट इन 5 E's फ्रेमवर्क, मैडम को भी पता है कि फर्स्ट इज द एक्सपोर्ट्स, तो एक्सपोर्ट्स एक्सपोर्ट्स एंड एक्सपोर्ट्स, तो फिर हमारे पोर्ट्स भी चलेंगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you, Dr. Vikas, for your insightful remarks. Next, I'd like to open the floor for discussion and questions. So, if you have any online participants, so can we start from there first?
Gigi, thank you very much. First and foremost, I think that this has been very informative, and it's brought me up to speed on a lot of things. My name is Amir Durrani, and I think there are a few questions I have. And that's one comment, but I'll restrain that. So the question number one is, when you said that Pakistan should have inland waterway development like the Caspian, and you also talked about the Black Sea. IWT studies in Pakistan have been carried out for many, many times. I mean, even recently in the last 10 years, such a study has been carried out. But the rivers are not navigable anymore. So are we thinking of digging up a sea in Pakistan? My second question is about the coastal shipping. That, one of the problems in only having cabotage shipping, if you go down the African coast, you'll also find out that technically, as long as a port, whether it can be a beachhead or it can be a regular port or a jetty, or it can be it all depends on the capacity of the services offered and what is being done at the port and its hinterland. Is it about shipping? Is it about something else? So I think that is how it should be defined. The problem in Pakistan is that we automatically exclude things rather than just saying what cannot be done, So we always put a lot of what can be done. So I think we need to change and review. And ma'am was right that, the people in the business people are not very encouraged. But I think that a lot can be gained if we kind of review again this whole regulatory side of this. Third question is on the birth. There was a recommendation that by 2030, births will be full and everything's going to happen. The birth utilization today is less than 58%, or the last we looked at, let's just even it out at 60%. Even if you take out some of the unusable births from there, I mean, the first thing would be to rebuild those. So the problem again is, port gate clearance, the absence of trade, a lot of import reliance, the absence of proper hinterland connectivity. So I would like to clarify or get clarity from someone who spoke on, why are we insisting on new ports, saying that the ports will run out of capacity. The fourth question is around SEZ industrial clusters, that why are we saying that the world around is all ports are run by industrial clusters? I mean, just you have to go across the bay and you'll see that many countries run ports very successfully without any of these present. KPT, even dreaming about the fact that KPT would be able to rezone and redevelop. I mean, reclaiming a city land is part of port metropolitan city governance. So my question again is on that as to why is this being recommended? My last question is on the rail connectivity. The connectivity really needed do you think it's needed to the north of Pakistan, or is it really needed to Iran and beyond through Spinzar? Thank you.
This is Babar Badat here, ji. Thank you very much, Nader Saab or Ms. Shahid and Dr. Wakar for your expressive input. You know, I think this blue economy thing is very interesting. There's a lot happening over there, or at least a lot you got on the paper. But I think you need to separate freight transportation, port operations, logistics in a different compartment. Marine tourism and ship breaking and all that. That's totally different. This is totally different. So you need to separate that. Port operations and everything is driven by transport and logistics. And Pakistan is one of the few countries which does not have a transport and shipping ministry. So our transport and not shipping, transport and logistics ministry, we don't have it. So there is no backup from the trade side, which can connect or dovetail into the ports and shipping ministry. So that needs. Now, if you look at freight and logistics and transportation, there are three very major elements. And one is the infrastructure, second is the enabling legislation, and the third is the keen industry practitioners' participation. Now, is there anything that we are looking at doing this? There is a lack of imagination in this area. And there's a lack of understanding also in this area. So we need to have a better understanding. We need to have better imagination in building this together. And and making our whole system more today. We, in many ways, our ports live in the 1960s, barring the terminals. A lot of the connectivity issues, a lot of rules and regulations, they're very primitive. And I think with this kind of thing, it's very difficult to do it. Now, port management and transport and logistics connectivity, regional connectivity are very, very specialized subjects. And you need very specialized people to promote this in any progressive economy. I don't even know if we are members of the IPH. I don't know if we are. We should be members of that. So that we can move beyond these discussions and seminars into actual implementations of things which are happening today in ports. And as Ahmed Durrani have just said also that our ports are underutilized. And I also you look at Gwadar. Gwadar again is a remarkable location, but we are I imagine we are victims of geopolitics, that we're not being able to function that properly. The Chinese, Dr. Vakar was saying that the Chinese can't even come out. So how can they run it? So you don't blame them. You don't blame them. I operated in Gwadar. We had a lot of problems over there, and so there are a lot of things that have to be looked at in a very different way. In my view, the government does not have a very good understanding of how this is to be taken forward. They are not engaged with the right people or with the right expertise to take it forward. There is lukewarm understanding, and there is lack of imagination, as I was saying, and we need to address this in a way that we are able to take this forward in a very, very constructive and a very strong manner. Otherwise, our trade cannot move forward. We are, as it is, not very well placed as far as our trade is concerned. What's happening in the region, there also we are not very, very well versed. You look at the 7 modes of transport and see where we are. In shipping, we have hardly any ships. In trucking, we are way behind our benchmark. We got only around 300,000 trucks. We should be something like more than 500,000 trucks. In railway, you see where we are. Inland waterways, you see where we are. Air freight, there are no cold storages. There's no terminals. There's no freighters that we have. So in all modes of transport, we are very, very primitive. We are very, very behind, and our 240 million people in this country are the most isolated people in the world. In the south, we have no ships. In the north, we have perpetual war in Afghanistan. On our eastern side, we've got no-go area with India because of enemy territory. And on our western side, we've got sanctioned country. So what do we do? 240 million people, what do you do? We have to, so there has to be a very different approach towards this thing and a very dynamic approach. We cannot move at the pace or with the understanding that we are going today. But this is just
Baba
my
sir, your
comments on
point
that
is
and a
very
few
well
questions that
taken.
I did put in the middle.
In the interest of time, I will ask you
Thank
to
you,
take
Ji.
this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. If you guys could answer these questions first, and then we'll open the floor to the audience present here.
Shall I attempt to answer?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'll answer quickly. Regarding trade, ports are underutilized. So our exports are less because our imports are very expensive. Actually, our cost of doing business is very high. Transportation, logistic, the port charges have to be drastically reduced in order to boost our trade. Rail connectivity, KPT has 33 kilometers of rail within, and this has been there since decades. Weekly trains of fertilizers go twice a week from KPT. And some time back, two trains used to go every week from KPT carrying containers, 48 containers each. And they used to go up till Sialkot, Faisalabad industrial centers. And it's directly connected with the central rail grid. When you develop PIPRI, KPT already, as Wazir mentioned, junction there. It doesn't make sense that the containers from Karachi port should go to Port Qasim and then those destined for Karachi should come back again to Karachi. Land reclamation is very bad if it's done in an uneducated manner, because when you reclaim coastal land, the water is going to find its own course, and that's why it's going into Badin area and eating up precious arable agriculture land, and that causes flooding because the water comes in, the sea water is intruded, and when it drains, the flood water can't come out. Berth's draft, if you are talking about Rico Day, copper ore ship, usually, which is economically makes sense, it requires a 18-meter draft. And no berth in Pakistan has a 18-meter draft. Port Qasim is not a good port because its navigational channel is 49 kilometers long and it's through creeks, so it's constantly silting, and the maintenance dredging required for that is astronomical, and that amount is going to be paid by the importers exporters of this country. Container ships, we have no container ships, but then India also doesn't have any container ship, so it's a source of solace. But we have 30 lakh containers coming and going, and we have no container ship. Dwell time, when you talk about dwell time, that is the fault of FBR, because dwell time should be 6 hours, as in Emirati port. Here it goes up till 3 days at a time. And the FBR doesn't own the scanners. The scanners are owned by the terminal operators. Scanner costs maybe 10 crore, 15 crore, and the government should purchase those scanners. And even the digital data of the scanners is with the terminal operators who are not from here. One interesting thing I found out, that we don't have 3 ports, we have 4 ports. Now, KPT has a west wharf and an east wharf and another third wharf. So west wharf and east wharf, when a ship comes on the east wharf and it goes, when it's unloaded, its weight reduces, so it goes to the west wharf, and then it has to go to custom again because they are separated. So there are 2 ports basically. Dredging is very expensive, and when you talk about inland waterways, now inland waterways, when you look at Sakkar Barrage and all these barrages, they had kept locks. And Mr. Babar Badar is more widely traveled to me. Go to Seattle, you go to these places. You have all these barrages, you have locks, and you've seen them. It's very interesting. A submarine was delivered to Pakistan Navy, and that submarine traveled, the shipyard was 400 kilometers inside China, and it came all the way from the shipyard to the coast. So 400 kilometers. They have developed their inland waterways, and the World Bank is willing to give you around $500 to $1 billion to develop your inland waterway. Even River Thames, that connects directly with the ports of UK, the main London Port Authority. So I have wrapped it up, and railway connectivity is very much there. And one interesting thing, the last point I'll make, when all the crude oil basically comes to KPT and it goes via pipeline to the 2 refineries and at Karangi, and then the refined petroleum chemical, they don't come back through a pipeline, they come back in trucks. And the pipeline has been built, but it stopped in between because there's a jurisdiction issue. So someone has to solve that. These are local issues which have to be solved.
I think it is not like nothing is being happened in shipping and the port sector. There's a lot being happened in the, though we are far behind the world, but a lot of being done in the shipping sector. Like a lot of studies has been carried out, a lot of recommendations have been made. All those recommendations which are, audiences they are giving, those recommendations have been given to Prime Minister, and at the same time, a lot of studies are being done. And likewise, just to tell you that, of course, the blue economy that is different from the ports and shipping. Here we are only talking about ports and ships. One important thing is that PNSC has only 12 ships. Actually, our import bill is $7 billion US. It means we have to pay $7 billion for the transportation of imports. If we, there is a plan being, PNSC is being, its share are being transferred to NLC as well. Its restructuring is being carried out, and likely 50 to 55 ships will be inducted by 2035. It means that our import will definitely be reduced. At the same time, the modernization of the shipping plan has been made, and it is being carried out. For hinterland connectivity, I have already talked that we have the project of elevated expressway, and at the same time, PIPT to KPT, these two projects are being carried out. And at the same time, ML1 is, we have been listening to ML1. I have already said that we have been listening to ML1 for the last 10 years, but now it is being its groundbreaking will be carried out likely in July. These are the strict timelines. May not be July, maybe August, if not, but we will be starting off with ML1 this year. Regarding the hinterland connectivity with the other countries, for example, with Iran and Afghanistan, of course, we don't have the rail connectivity with the China because, it is very, very expensive to have a railway line from this place up till China border. It is very difficult. But with Afghanistan and with Iran, we have the rail connectivity, but it's being upgraded. But the main issue is that we are the broad gauge. We have the broad gauge. They have the narrow gauge. Definitely, the same train cannot go up till Turkey. Because all over the world, we have the multimodal regional connectivity. Multimodal means you at one specific destination, you use one mode of transportation, and you use other mode of transportation. Of course, there are the arrangements. We have the two projects for this regional connectivity. One is with Uzbekistan. Rail connectivity, its feasibility study has been carried out. Kharlachi to Kohar, this one of the project, and then Kharlachi up till within Afghanistan, that will be also being carried out. But its feasibility study and land acquisition has been started. And similarly, the other question was regarding the only about the SCCs. That only with the SCCs we can't, improve our ports or exports, but it's very important because first of all we need to have the confidence for the operators for the shipping lines. If we have our own SCCs and we export from through our own SCCs, then definitely shipping lines will come and have the transit rate with us, like in Gwadar or through KPT. But for the transit rate, our port should have the must have the activity. Then of course the other shipping lines, they will come. And I think that it's not the rosy picture. Actually, government has already taking a lot of steps on this, but of course there are some other issues with regards to the funding and everything. Definitely phase wise these things are being happening. Thank you.
Would like to add, as being said, that I think first time ever this much attention is being to maritime sector in a holistic manner. Even recently, there was the Karachi shipyard is building first container ship for PNSC. That is not a very big, but 1100 probably container ship. So lot of things are being made. Similarly, in ship recycling, a lot of ground has been covered. Pakistan has ratified Hong Kong Convention. The shipyards are being compatible with the required regulations. So this focus, renewed focus, is highly appreciated, I would say. But at the same time, it needs to be sort of consistent and sustained in future.
Sir, my question is through all the three panelists. Please tell me, there is a new development in the regulatory framework. That lots of authorities have been envisaged, like PLPA is the one, and the other is Pakistan Port and Maritime Authority. I think that bill came to me for vetting at National Institute of Maritime Affairs. So do you think this is going to help governance, these new authorities? any panelist can answer this.
Sir, my comments are reserved. I think probably we need to revisit all these new things. From ports and shipping, was that already the ports are statutory bodies. So having another statutory body to oversee that needs to be revisited on from
It
government.
can only create confusion. And my second, I would say, question is that maritime administration overall has gone through an evolution process. I have visited in August this last year in Turkey, where I visited their maritime administration, lot of ministries. And then we carried out a comparison of the regional maritime administration. Even India does not have maritime ministry. They have ports and shipping. Afghanistan has ports and shipping. Turkey, it had Ministry of Maritime Affairs, and it was renamed Ministry of Port and Transportation. So I think there is a need that we take out this fishing and aquaculture and maritime tourism from maritime affairs, and that becomes part of blue economy, which can grow, which can be quickly, it can yield results. But port and shipping should remain as a subject, and this ministry should exist as a port and shipping. I think, like Turkey, we should revert back to having this single ministry, and we should, manage this aquaculture and fisheries. There is a overlap of provincial jurisdiction and federal jurisdiction. You might be knowing beyond 1200 nautical mile, the only federal jurisdiction exists. And within 12 nautical mile, it is the province. The ship, when it comes for recycling, it is afloat, it is under the port state. The moment it touches the ground, it becomes a provincial subject. So how Hong Kong Convention can be enforced by a provincial legislation?
No, actually, if you look at the Hong Kong regulations, it deals with three aspects. The number one aspect is regarding the ship recycling facility, how they should be look like, and what are the facilities available on these. Second is the human resource. That is again the labor that is working on this recycling industry. And third one is the IHM, the hazardous material aspect. So there was a lot of discussion. I think 2 years we have been working with both government, federal government, as well as the provincial government, BDA, Balochistan Development Authority. As you are saying that this is, they said that this is their prerogative. So right now the 2 bills have been there. The Balochistan bill, which is dealing with the Hong Kong conventions, is dealing with the 2 aspects, ship recycling facilities as well as the labor. And the IHM is now being dealt by the federal government. So that issue has been amicably resolved. I think this is one area where probably it even went to the highest level, even in the prime minister level. But the thing is now these 2 bills are complementing each other to ensure that the Hong Kong convention is fully complied.
I would like to thank the audience also for their participation. If you have any questions, further suggestions, comments, please join us for tea in CPEC room.